Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantom, and I hope you guys all had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It's a little late on Sunday night right now when I'm recording this, so if I look tired and appear tired, I am sorry. I am a little bit tired, but it is a little late. Like I said, I've been spending a lot of my weekend kind of reorganizing and redoing everything in this whole like YouTube studio type area where I keep a lot of inventory. As you can tell behind me, everything looks probably quite a bit different. There's only a couple shelves up here, and I'm going to really start limiting the product that we had back there and start putting a lot more of it up on the website. I've been asked a lot in the past why those aren't on the website, or why things behind me aren't on the website if they're part of my personal collection. And honestly, the answer is they're not necessarily part of my personal collection, and they will be going up on the website, or they have already been up on the website at one point in time. A lot of the stuff behind me is like a one of, or a two of, or a three of that we have left over from kind of an original shipment that we took in. A lot of times we don't list everything that we get in. Like, for example, we got in about 460 Galarian Rapidash boxes. We only listed about 400 of them on the website, and the reason behind that is because if there's stuff that ends up going missing or damaged in transit, at least we have leftovers then that we can reship out to replace those. And then we take those 50 or 60 that are left over, and we kind of do the same thing. So we might only put up 40 or 50 of them, so that way we at least have 10, 20 of them left over in case some of them get damaged or lost in transit. Same things happened with a lot of the stuff that was behind me at one point in time, to the point where there's only a few of them left over. So you might have, a few Hidden Fates Elite Trainer boxes, or a few of the Ultra Premium collections from Sword and Shield, or a few Evolutions Elite Trainer boxes. So those will go up on the website. The thing is they're going to sell out really, really quick because there is only a few of them that we have left over. So as soon as they go up, I do expect them to kind of sell out right away. So make sure you're keeping up to date, keeping an eye out on the website, because they will be going up over the next few weeks. I'm just going to try and get everything cleaned up down here, organized a little bit better, and then get that stuff out. But I do want to talk to you guys about the Pokemon market in general, because I do think that there is continuing to be a lot of misinformation out there, especially information regarding the market in general right now. A lot of people are out there saying, oh, the market is crashing and things are getting destroyed, and it's, panic sell all over the place. And while that may be some truth, there may be some truth to that behind certain areas of the market, for the most part, a lot of the market that the typical collector is going to be looking at isn't really being affected right now, and the prices haven't changed too much over the last few months. And that's something that I really want to emphasize if you're somebody who is looking at collecting, or somebody who has been collecting Pokemon for quite some time. As content creators, we have been guilty, or all of us, I guess, have been guilty of really focusing on a lot of these big name cards that are out there. You focus on the Logan Paul box break, and you focus on Logic buying this first edition Charizard PSA 10 for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's what we zone in on. And while it's a lot of fun to look at these big and gaudy numbers, the average collectors that are out there are going to be looking for holographic cards, from vintage sets, WotC sets, or Heart Gold Soul Silver, or something from the EX era, or even people who are looking at finding ultra rare cards from the black and white era, or the early XY era, something like that. A lot of those cards haven't changed or fluctuated in price too much over the last few months, and a lot of them are actually up. So I like to really follow what SM Pratt, for example, said. If you search on YouTube for SM Pratt, in a recent video that he put up, he talked about how Pokemon is really in kind of a K-curve market right now, where you have some areas where things are going up, some areas where things are going down, and some areas where things are staying steady. But from what I'm seeing out there, a lot of people are looking at the market and saying, oh my goodness, it's crashing, it's burning, here's some investment opportunities for you. You can get this PSA Charizard, this Charizard PSA 8 for a deep discount because it's selling for so much cheaper than what it was a few months ago. Well, a lot of the reasoning behind that is, yes, a lot of people look at these investments, and investments across the board are just not doing great right now. Crypto is having a hard time right now. Stocks and bonds are having a hard time right now. A lot of the areas involving the whole investment cycle are having issues right now. Pokemon is really not any different than that. It's still a collectible, it's a tangible, which makes it a little bit different, but for the most part, it's still an investment. And when you look at those areas, yeah, you are going to have fluctuations and you are going to have price corrections. But for a lot of the average collectors, those things are kind of outside of the norm for us. So we're not focusing, or we shouldn't be focusing on those numbers. And as content creators, I think that's something that I've at least tried to say over the past several months, is that you really don't want to focus on those big numbers all the time. And it's great to look at it. It's fun to see these, these Suncoast or these Charizard cards that are selling for $200,000 less than what they did originally, or these first edition PSA 10 cards that are selling for thousands of dollars less than they were, 2-3 months ago. But for the average collector, those just aren't realistic goals. And we're going to look at some stuff in the market that for the most part has actually stayed the same or gone up a little bit. But I do want to draw a little bit of attention first to something that I posted earlier on Twitter. So I'm going to kind of draw your attention to something that's been floating out a lot out there. And this is what I'm talking about exactly when it comes to content creation, and what we need to do a better job at as content creators is making sure that the information that we're putting out there is accurate. So this was originally posted by somebody else, and then I think Pokemon News ended up sharing it on their Twitter feed, and I just kind of retweeted it earlier today. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is Danny__O. But this is basically just opening up at Walmart where the doors open and there's this mass rush of people going to the card section, and you can tell just by watching where they're going and what they're looking for. And it took me a few times to watch it, but what the reality is a lot of these people who are going in here right now are actually searching for sports cards, and you can kind of tell they're pulling a bunch of sports cards off of the shelves. If you look at it, really right at the end of the video is where I finally noticed that there's still Pokemon cards on the shelves, and there's actually Pokemon cards that do have some value to it way at the end here. So I'm just going to try and stop the video right where it happens. But this guy right over here takes a Shining Fates Elite Trainer box, which is located right next to some tins. But you can see when it's kind of difficult to see. You'd have to pull it up on your phone probably, or on a computer yourself. But see, he just took a Shining Fates Elite Trainer box, and there's more behind it. Looks like right here there's some Shining Fates tins. But these people are after, see, you can see right there that that's a Shining Fates Elite Trainer box. But there's people who are after sports cards for the most part, and this is what we're doing as content creators. We're kind of creating this false sense of what's going on in the market, and unfortunately all this does is actually leads to more problems, because when we start sharing this and saying how bad Pokemon is still, and I know Pokemon does have issues right now, I know there's still things going on where scalping is still a very real thing. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as it was, but by constantly saying this and constantly drawing attention to it and showing these videos where it's actually focusing on sports cards and playing it off to be Pokemon related, all we're doing is giving more people incentive to go to these big box stores and buy Pokemon cards to try and flip. And yeah, they're probably not going to be as successful because the secondary market isn't near what it was a few months ago, but for the most part, they're seeing this and they're saying, oh, this was about Pokemon? I thought this was about sports cards. I'm going to start pulling Pokemon off the shelves when I pull sports cards off the shelf also. So we don't want to do that. We need to do a better job at content creators of making sure we're not showing this false sense of the market. And that's really what I'm trying to get into with this video regarding the whole market crash, as a lot of people are calling it. If we look at Shining Fates Elite Trainer boxes, you can tell the lowest one right now is selling for about $78 on TCG Player. You can find them cheaper on other websites. You can find them cheaper on eBay if you look hard enough. But for the most part, $78, while it's not an attractive price and still about $28 above MSRP, it's a lot better than the $100, $105, $110 that we were at when the set originally released. And yeah, there's going to be correction. Yeah, there's going to be regression. Yeah, Shining Fates has been out a little bit, and people are probably more focused on what Chilling Reign is going to do when it comes out next month. But this is getting a lot closer to that MSRP level, especially on a secondary market when you have to factor in shipping and things like that. So the margin here for people who focus on the secondary market and people who are going to the big box stores is not anywhere near as attractive as what they would be able to get for something else. And we need to do a better job, like I said, of making sure we explain that as content creators so that way we're not driving up false hype. If you look at Battle Styles booster boxes right now, they're at levels I didn't think we were going to get anywhere near for probably close to a year. You're looking at $108 for a Battle Styles booster box. This is the most recent main set that came out. We don't have another main set now for a few weeks, so this is really, really cool to see. And I know there was a restock that just kind of came out for a lot of people. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten our restock yet, and that should be coming at some point next week where our price is going to come down quite a bit as well. But it's really nice to see the market kind of correcting, even quite a bit lower than what that MSRP level is. Even Vivid Voltage has died down quite a bit where it's below that $200 mark. I had talked about this a couple weeks ago saying that I did expect it to go down below that $200 mark, and that's really cool to see. I know that the restock that we had wasn't very, very big, so it's nice to see that there's not as many of these being purchased and then trying to flip on that secondary market. I don't think supply is necessarily increasing as much as it was. I think more people are just so a lot of people are getting out of the game, and I think the secondary market is just starting to correct itself, which is really, really cool, especially as you see some of these really top of the line vintage cards regress in their price. And then the final thing that I really wanted to pull up is just a spreadsheet that I kind of looked over. This is about 10 to 15 minutes of work that I put in because I was watching some videos on YouTube and just kind of seeing what a lot of people were pointing out as far as this giant market crash goes, right? Like we're seeing these PSA cards that are dipping like crazy, and we're seeing first edition base and shadowless base going down like crazy. A lot of these cards that are kind of outside a lot of our price ranges to begin with, and that's what I'm talking about, a false sense of the market. So I just wanted to kind of take more popular holographic cards from a lot of the sets that we had from when Wizard of the Coast was printing. So we're looking at a Mewtwo base right here. Right now it's selling for about $15 to $20 on eBay. 3 months ago when I looked at sold listings from 3 months ago, it was selling for about $15 to $20. The lowest on TCG Player near mint is $22.98. Snorlax from the Jungle set, which is also a popular holographic card, but not the most popular holographic card from Jungle set, is selling for between $15 and $20 now. No different than what it was 3 months ago when it was selling for about $15 to $20. The lowest on TCG Player was actually a kind of an outlier, kind of an anomaly, because it was selling for $45, but you could buy it near mint, buy it now on eBay for $25. Articuno, which is a popular holo from the Fossil set, not the most popular holo, again, because I wanted to kind of keep this as like more of a general idea of what the average holographic card is selling for from these sets. $15 to $20 3 months ago, and $15 to $20 now. Lowest TCG Player near mint was $35. Dark Raichu, which is a little bit more popular of a holographic from Team Rocket, is selling now for about $40 to $50, whereas 3 months ago you could find them for about $30 to $40, quite a bit. Lowest on TCG Player right now is $55. So that's an example of a card that actually went up a little bit in price over the last few months. For Alligator, number 4 from Neo Genesis, selling for about $40 to $50 now. 3 months ago it was selling between $30 and $40. Right now you can buy it now on TCG Player for $50. Houndoom right now is selling for between $20 and $30 near mint. It was selling for $30 to $40 3 months ago. So it's actually gone down a little bit over the past few months. Lowest on TCG Player was quite a bit more expensive at $80. Raikou from Neo Revelation is selling for $60 to $70 right now, whereas 3 months ago it was selling between $50 and $60. Lowest on TCG Player is $75, so that's a card that actually went up a little bit over the last 3 months. Light Dragonite from Neo Destiny is selling between $90 and $100 right now, whereas 3 months ago it was selling between $70 and $80. There's plenty of sold listings between $70 and $80, and again, there were some that sold for more, there were some that sold for less, so I just kind of took the average price for the holographic card from Neo Destiny. Lowest on TCG Player right now, near mint copy for $135. Umbreon, the H29 holo from Aquapolis, I think that's what the set this is from. $250 now, $250 3 months ago, out of stock on TCG Player. And then I wanted to look at Evolutions. The M Charizard EX, the Full Art Mega Charizard EX from Evolutions is selling now. You can buy it for $50. 3 months ago it was selling for $50. The lowest near mint on TCG Player is selling for $49.44. So this was 15 minutes of research. I did spend a little bit more time kind of just in my free time looking up different holographic cards and different rarities from 3 months ago to now, and for the most part, I would say probably 90 to 95% of the singles, as far as near mint copies, are selling for the same now as what they were 3 months ago, or a little bit more now than what they were for 3 months ago. So we're not talking about generally a market crash, we're talking about a correction in a lot of different areas, and when there's PSA cards that are kind of flying out off the shelves like crazy because there were so many submissions, to the point where PSA had to shut down because they needed to catch up and handle all these different cards that came in. When those are all flooding the market, of course there's going to be a correction. We've known about this. We've talked about this for months. So it's not as doom and gloom as what everybody is saying. And again, the main thing that I just wanted to kind of drive home is don't pay attention to those gaudy numbers. And that's something that we really need to do a better job of focusing on, giving people a better idea of what the whole picture is when it comes to Pokemon. A lot of these cards that the more casual collector, I'd say 90 to 95% of people who do collect Pokemon cards are buying these cards or are focusing on these cards that I just named off, not the cards that are selling for, $100,000, $200,000, not the first edition Lugia from Neo Genesis that is going to see those giant swings because the pop numbers are so low. We need to focus on a lot of the numbers that are out there and not just focus on one general specific area, because when you're talking about those numbers, those are what a lot of these quote unquote investors are buying when they come in. And when you have investors who are coming in throwing that kind of money at these cards that we're hyping up and keeping our eyes on, you're going to see those giant swings because there's only so many copies, and there are going to be situations where people panic sell, unfortunately. So while it's fun to look at those numbers, I do think that we as content creators need to make sure that we're looking at the market as a whole before we go out there. And that's why, like I said, I like what S.M. Pratt was talking about regarding that whole K-curve, where you have different areas of the market that are kind of showing different things and not necessarily just focusing on this crash that's going on, because that's not necessarily the case. It's not a giant crash all across Pokemon. It's just a crash in some areas, whereas a lot of things that collectors are actually focusing on or will focus on hasn't changed so much over the last few months, and in a lot of areas has actually gone up. So I just want to keep things real, let you guys know where everything is, and I thought it was interesting to kind of look at, because a lot of people aren't focusing on these numbers, and I think it's important to look at because it kind of is indicative of where we are as a market in general. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed that information. I hope you like it. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button down below. Leave a comment for the algorithm. I really, really appreciate it. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I will talk to you later. All right, peace.